Hello, once more, and welcome back to the channel. Back here on YouTube, doing my 2024 NFL predictions Week 7 edition. After going 5-2 last week, my record now sits at 20-22. 2 games under 500 going into this week. As I get into this week's episode, no NFL prediction recap video from last night, unfortunately, because the game went late on Monday Night Football. Same for next week, because I'm predicting both Monday night games next week. There's a doubleheader this week coming up on Monday Night Football, so no prediction recap though, but I'll have the quick version of the NFL prediction video right after this one's uploaded as well. With that being said, 7 games on the schedule, a lot of great games to look at. The rematch of the Super Bowl 58 between the Chiefs and 49ers to talk about this week, plus the NFC North, one of the best divisions of football, most right now. Let's get into all that starting right now. Let's start it out with the Vikings and Lions. Right now, the Week 7 NFL predictions. Lions, they lost Aiden Hutchinson on Sunday to the Cowboys, even though they got a 47-9 win. And it was interesting to see. Vikings coming off their bye week, staying unbeaten at 5-0. One of 2 remaining teams unbeaten. We'll talk about Vikings, though. Sam Darnold, Lions, Jared Goff. 2 teams. NFC North. Who wins this matchup? First time meeting each other this season. We'll see what happens. It's going to be an interesting game to see. If you're a Vikings fan, you have a home field advantage at 5-0. If you're a Lions fan, you're without Aiden Hutchinson, your best team's a lineman. That's going to be hurting you as a fan, I'm sure. Sorry, Lions fans, to that. Hope you have a way to get past them and beat the Vikings this week. With that being said, I think this game is going to be an interesting matchup to watch. Should be a fun matchup, though, to see. With that being said, I do think the Vikings remain unbeaten and get a win, because the Lions do not have Aiden Hutchinson, so the Vikings, honestly, I think will be getting a win this week, unfortunately. So sorry to Lions fans about that. I'm going to give the Vikings here the win for Sunday afternoon. The first game. Next game on the schedule, we have the Seattle Seahawks and Geno Smith going up against the Atlanta Falcons and Kirk Cousins. The Falcons, one of the surprise teams this year in the NFC, down in the NFC South, playing in a great division with the Buccaneers and Baker Mayfield. One of the 2 teams at the top of the division, the Falcons, one of those teams that is a Cinderella story most likely this year. Seahawks, they started out pretty good, came off a 36-24 loss. The 49ers in Week 6 on Thursday Night Football, with a 10-day period to relax for them. They get some time to rebound after losing 36-24 this week. And playing on the road, though, it's going to be a tough matchup, though. Kirk Cousins and the Falcons, he has a pretty good team around him. And playing quarterback, Kirk Cousins has a way to win, I think, in this matchup. I think this game's going to be pretty close, though. With that being said, I do think the Falcons get the win at the end of the day, with the Seahawks having to travel across from the West Coast all the way down to Atlanta, Georgia, through 3 different time zones to play in the Eastern time zone, unfortunately. So that's why I think the Falcons get the win here. Moving on. You have the Houston Texans, C.J. Stroud. They're going into Green Bay to play the Packers and Jordan Love. A matchup which is interesting. Packers, they're in 3rd in the NFC North. And just saying, the NFC North, they just continue to win. There's a bye week. They're off a 35-16 win last week, as I predicted. But the Packers, though, they did not. I know I picked them last few weeks ago. I don't think I predicted them yet this year. But look at the Packers playing C.J. Stroud and the Texans. This is going to be an interesting game. Jordan Love, C.J. Stroud, 2 quarterbacks who are young. This could be a matchup maybe to look at and say, oh, look, will these 2 teams meet up in the playoffs? In the Super Bowl, maybe? We'll see. Packers, Jordan Love, they're pretty good this year, though. For the Houston Texans, they're good as well. They won 41-21 over the Patriots last week. With that being said, I do think the Texans-Packers, this game could go down to the wire. This might be another one of those games where the Packers play at home and they end up losing again. And with that being said, I do think that can happen. And I do think the Texans are going to Green Bay and surprise the Packers. Going to win in Green Bay on the road, by the way. So give the Texans a win there. Moving on to Washington, the Commanders. Jaden Daniels coming off a loss last week to Baltimore, and also the Carolina Panthers. And Bryce Young, the Panthers. Last week I did predict the Washington Commanders would lose to Baltimore. They did 30-23, a 7-point game. Washington coming off a loss still. They're 4-2 on the year in 6 games. Carolina Panthers, they're one of the teams in the NFC South. They're not very good this year. Commanders, Jaden Daniels, Heisman Trophy winner from last year of LSU. He's a pretty good quarterback. He's leading a good team 4-2. I think this is going to be a bounce back week for them after losing by 7 last week to the Ravens. I think it's a bounce back game for the Commanders, and I do think the Commanders get the win surprisingly this week because I don't think the Panthers Bryce Young, and quarterback Andy Dalton, who's a starter right now. I don't think the Panthers get the win this week because I do think the Commanders are going to be a better team, and I do think the Commanders get the win by a lot this week. Not sure how much it's going to be by, though, but the Commanders get the win there, I think, on Sunday afternoon. Next up, we're going to go to San Francisco. We have Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, my favorite team, going up against the 49ers and Brock Purdy. Another team I like to watch, George Kittle, Travis Kelce, top 2 tight ends in the NFL in this game. Patrick Mahomes, Brock Purdy, 2 young quarterbacks in the game. Brock Purdy, a quarterback who wants to win a Super Bowl, has not been there yet. He's been there once, but lost last year to the Chiefs. This will be a good, fun matchup to see on Sunday if you're going to watch it. Because you have the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, and you have the 49ers and Brock Purdy, 2 quarterbacks who have 2 tight ends who are great. They have a receiving core that's great. For the Chiefs, they have Juju Smith-Schuster, who's back. He scored touchdowns in week 5 against the Saints. And also, the 49ers also have Brandon Ayuk, who's pretty good as well. So the 49ers and Chiefs, this is going to be a fun matchup to see by far. Maybe a good repeat Super Bowl matchup this year as a rematch against each other from last year's Super Bowl. It's going to be fun to see, I think. And I'll just say this could be a preview of Super Bowl 59, potentially. 2 teams that could go back to the Super Bowl, and we could see them again. But I think it's going to be a close game for both teams. I think it's going to come down to which team's defense does not make a mistake, and that's how it's going to happen, I think. I think it might come down to which team plays well overall. Mistakes and which team plays well. That's going to be the focus in this thing. I do think the 49ers win the rematch in Super Bowl from Super Bowl 58 from last year after losing to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. So give me the 49ers here, surprisingly, unfortunately. I don't want to pick against my favorite team, but I have to this week because the Chiefs are going on the road. And the Chiefs' defense does have some issues. The offensive line is another reason they have issues as well. The Chiefs' offensive line is still trying to figure it out, I think, throughout the bye week. And I think the 49ers are going to get an advantage with their defensive line, maybe. So I do think the 49ers get the win here in this one on Sunday afternoon. Moving on, next one. We're going to Monday Night Football now. First game of the doubleheader at 7:15. Baker Mayfield Buccaneers going against Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. I predicted the Ravens last week to win 30-6. Predicted them against the Commanders getting one. This week they're going to Baker Mayfield and Buccaneers on Monday Night Football. Again, Buccaneers, they're coming back to Florida after playing on the road at New Orleans last week. In week 6, after leaving early because of the hurricanes and everything. For the Buccaneers, it's going to be a bittersweet homecoming because they had the hurricanes there the hurricane that went through last week. And they're going to come back to playing home. And I think that's going to be a homecoming game for them pretty much. Like, their fans are going to show up, I think, and just forget about what happened in life for the hurricane that happened. And for the Baltimore Ravens, going into that with a crowd that might be emotional, for a game that's going to be emotional for the players and the team playing there, I think it's going to be one of those games to really see what happens on Monday Night Football and whichever team, and see how the Buccaneers respond to coming back home after leaving early last week on Tuesday to go to New Orleans early. I think it's going to be one of those games where the Buccaneers, they're going to have to, it's going to be emotional for them, I think. For the Ravens, it's a regular game where they have to go back down to Florida. Business trip for them. Are they going to do good? I think it's going to be a good game to see. I do think the Buccaneers and Baker Mayfield get the win, though, on Monday Night Football this week. I predicted them to win a few weeks ago, and they lost by 6 to Atlanta. But I do think the Buccaneers win this time around at home on Monday night. Moving on. Second game of the Monday night game. Chargers. Justin Herbert and the Chargers going into Arizona. Play Kyler Murray, the Arizona Cardinals, by the way, this week. Should be another interesting one. Chargers, they're coming off a win, 23-16 against the Broncos. I predicted the Broncos in that one last week. This week, going to Arizona, the playing Cardinals. Arizona Cardinals, they're not the best team in the NFL, but they're okay, I guess you could say. They're still trying to figure things out behind the Rams. This is going to be one of those games where both team Chargers, I think, Justin Herbert and the Chargers are going to come in and take advantage of the Cardinals this week. And that's going to be a thing that you look at. When you have these good teams who are good playing a bad team, that's going to happen from time to time. And it will. This week, I think, take effect. With that being said, I do think the Chargers get the win on the road. So get the Chargers a win here on Monday night next week. And with that being said, that is the NFL predictions for Week 7. I'll go for the recap who I'm taking. Starting on Sunday with the Vikings and Lions, taking the Vikings. And then I'll to Atlanta, taking Kirk Cousins and Falcons over Geno Smith and the Seahawks. Then up to Green Bay, I'm going to take C.J. Stroud, the Texans, over Jordan Love, the Packers. And Washington, taking the Commanders and Jaden Daniels over the Panthers and Andy Dalton. And San Francisco, I'm taking Brock Purdy, George Kittle, the 49ers against Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and the Chiefs. And in Tampa Bay, I'm taking Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers over Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson. And in Monday Night Football as well, I'm taking Justin Herbert and the Chargers over the Arizona Cardinals and Kyler Murray. That is Week 7 NFL predictions. Please comment below who your favorite team is playing if you think they're going to win this week. Also, don't forget to tell your friends to watch, like, subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification button as well. With that being said, have a good day. Stay safe and peace out. I'll see you right back here on Tuesday next week with the Week 8 NFL predictions right back here. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you next week, everyone. Bye for now. Peace out. See ya. Bye.